What's up, y'all? It's Kuyubishi here with the first UMG game of the SNK Gaming channel. First of all, I want to give a big shout out to my boy Casty. He is the one that got me started on the UMG games. You'll see him in a lot of my videos from now on because me and him run a lot of pubs together. We run UMGs together, so you'll see him in a good number of my Black Ops 3 videos that are up and coming. For those of you that aren't familiar, UMG games it's a competitive game. It's similar to the Call of Duty World League and MLG rules. There's certain things that they ban and restrict, such as the XM53 rocket launcher, because they don't want people just using it to free fire and take out a group of guys. They want to see the actual gun skill rather than just who can place a better explosive, more or less. They don't allow the 205 brecci, which I find a little odd considering they still allow the haymaker, which they're very similar in their play style, honestly. There isn't much difference when you're going up against one compared to the other. They also don't allow the 48 dredge, which that one is completely understandable. You can miss one or two shots out of the burst and still get the guys in one burst. They don't allow trip mines and C4, which totally makes sense, especially with search and destroy. Same with shock charges. Everybody would just place them on or right around the bomb sites. You could pretty much just sit in the back out of the way and wait for one of those to go off and take out an opponent. If you're running 2v2s and one guy gets taken out by a C4, it instantly sways in your favor, and it's just kind of a cheap way to do it. Black Hat, they don't allow. Some of the perks they don't allow. Sixth Sense, Awareness, and Tracker makes sense because then you just have too many people sitting in a corner until they heard or saw on their mini-map or followed the footprints of another player. It sways the gunfights way too much to one side. They don't allow Ghost, which makes total sense that they don't allow it. However, it almost seems pointless to say it's not allowed because UAVs, counter UAVs, and haters aren't allowed. So running Ghost when there is no UAV up makes absolutely no sense. It's a waste of a perk at that point. They don't allow care packages, which makes sense. It seems like any time that you get a care package, about 80% of the time it always seems to be a UAV or counter UAV. It always seems to be that way, especially when you're hoping for something good. They don't allow Hive and Reject. Hive totally makes sense. Same thing as C4 and trip mines. Too many people would just be abusing it, putting it on the bomb sites for search and destroy. And at that point, there's not a whole bunch you can do unless you really take your time and check every corner and every door that you go through. It's almost guaranteed to get one person unless they're really paying attention. Reject makes sense. I mean, if you're playing search and destroy and you have Reject, it's like having another player on your team. It's almost like going 3 versus 2. Kinetic armor, they don't allow. Makes sense. If you're 1v1 on a guy in your gunfight, if you use kinetic armor, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna win that gunfight if you have kinetic armor. Vision pulse, same reasoning as Sixth Sense and Tracker. If you know exactly where your opponents are, it doesn't make for a good gunfight. It doesn't make it very fair. It makes it very lopsided. So totally makes sense on that. They don't allow dual wield, rapid fire, and high caliber. Makes sense. If you're in a gunfight, if one guy has rapid fire or high caliber or both, then 9 times out of 10 that guy's probably gonna win the gunfight. So then that's pretty much the only perk that you would or the only attachments that you would really see on many weapons would be those. So I thought it was a wise choice banning those ones. Now, Search and Destroy isn't the only kind of UMG match there is. There is Uplink and Capture the Flag and Hardpoint, and there's 1v1s up to 4v4s. You won't see many 1v1s on my channel. I'm more of a support player. I enjoy gaming with a team and being able to strategize with a team. I'm not much of a lone wolf, honestly. 2v2 you'll see a lot of, especially before Vigorous Vendetta joins us. After Vigorous joins us, you'll see a lot of 3v3s and 4v4s. 4v4s after we've kind of gotten used to our gaming style and found one more person that really likes to run with us and fits in with the group really well. If you're looking at doing the UMGs, I say go for it. They're a blast to do. They require a lot more strategy. If you're just running around like it's a pub, you're almost guaranteed with a loss just because you have to have communication with your team. You have to call out enemies. You have to let them know, where you're heading. It helps out a bunch. If you go down and they know that you took a certain area, they know a guy's probably over in that area. So you want to have good communication with your team. You want to pay attention to the other players on the other team, how they like to run, because if they like to hang back and snipe, you might want to avoid middle map, or if they like to rush middle map, where they might be heading, if they like to flank, that kind of stuff. It helps out a bunch. So it isn't just what your team can do, it's also paying attention to the other team. There's a specialist draft, which I love. It creates a lot of variety because you don't get just the teams all running one thing. You won't have a team of just Ripper sitting in the corner, or you won't have heat waves all just kind of rotating out and constantly stunning you. It makes it so that only one specialist can be used per team. So, you can't have two guys running heat wave. It's all different. So it makes for a lot more different strategies, a lot more different playing styles as well. It's a good challenge playing the UMG games. If you're bored with pub, you're going 2.0, 3.0 KD with 300 score per minute pretty much every game, to where it's almost not a challenge. I guarantee it will be a challenge for you. So it's a good way to continue to improve your gaming and everything. If you do join, y'all be honest, don't dispute every time you lose. Our record right now is 2-16 because a lot of the teams that we faced and beaten have disputed it, even though we didn't break any rules. And when we lose, as long as they weren't doing something like using C4 or something like that that's banned, we don't dispute it. If you beat us fairly, you beat us fairly, kind of thing. But if you do have a record like that, don't get discouraged. It takes a little bit of time to get used to the people that you're gaming with and really form a strategy that caters to everyone's strengths while kind of providing protection for your weaknesses. Like me and Casti have only been gaming together for about 2 weeks. So, 2-16 honestly isn't all that bad, especially for as short of a time as we've been gaming together. It helps to have different style of players. If you have all guys that are good at one thing, it's going to leave a huge opening weakness. There's always a weakness to everything that there is. It's just a matter of finding it, So don't have just one style of player. Don't just have one group of guys who's amazing at planning the objective but can't hardly get kills or aren't as good with their gun fights. But you want to have a variety. It makes it a lot easier to cover each other's strengths and weaknesses. Don't rely on one guy too much. If the other team sees that he is constantly getting pretty much all of the kills for the team, they're going to pick that one guy out, because after you take out the one player that's pretty much carrying a team, the rest of the team at that point doesn't have as much experience in facing people and, really clutching those moments. So if you're relying on just one guy, you're going to struggle if that one guy gets taken out. And people will look to take out that strong player a lot of times. In this game that you're watching here, it was kind of amazing. It was a great game. They were a great team. It wasn't a blowout one side or the other. We had a good game. They'd get a few, we'd get a few. It wasn't a 6-0 or a 6-1 or even a 6-2 kind of thing. It was back and forth the entire time, very intense the entire time. I actually got that ninja defuse that you saw. That was not planned. I was so psyched when I got that because I wasn't planning it. It was just pure lucky timing that he decided to run off and check other places. I just took advantage of the moment, but not hardly ever will you get that in UMG gaming, just because most players are great at checking their corner. So, you can't expect to, sit in the corner, wait for them to plan and get that ninja defuse every time. Odds are you're going to get the guy come around the corner, check the corner, you're not going to be expecting it, and he's going to take you out if you're trying for the ninja defuse. That was just super lucky on my part. With the UMG games, you're going to find a lot of challenge, a lot of good opponents. There's a lot of great competition on there, so don't be discouraged if you aren't winning every single game or even half your games. don't be discouraged. There's a lot of good gamers out there, but stick with it. You just got to find the strategy that works for you and your group. Once you find that, you guys will do just fine, I'm sure, you know, and it'll help improve you a bunch. Even in public, it'll make it so that your public matches you do a lot better. Overall, guys, you know, I hope you like this video. I appreciate you watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, show your buddies. I want to try and get, let's go for 10 likes on this video by the next time I post one. Alright, peace out, y'all.